choices. I mean, good choices.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us tonight on Star Trek Kvasir. You know, I was watching the intro and I wondered to myself, every time it pops up and says basics of the game as first officer, I wonder if that makes his skin crawl.
Yes.
He never wanted that. But here we
hope
are
it does.
anyway.
I hope it does.
Well, the good news is he doesn't have to be first officer tonight. The bad news is one of these four amazing players gets that distinction. And we've kind of already crunched the numbers, did the math, and figured out that looks like it's going to be our tactical officer.
Oh, joy.
So tonight's
now
show.
You have to talk to your ex. Congratulations.
So tonight's show, our captain for the evening will be Lieutenant Kirk Sulak, Romulan extraordinaire.
Bye.
So for anybody that may or may not remember from our last episode, the super brief version is the changeling espionage. What is the word for that? Espionagier?
Saboteur?
Saboteur, I guess. Yeah. Was dropped off on a planet and said, good luck. And y'all kind of left him behind. No hurt feelings on that one. And a transmission came through via a very old style, one would almost say primitive style of communication, Morse code, by one missing in action, Officer Zek. Well, I guess he's just Zek now because Sulak kind of took all of his Starfleet powers away. He provided you all with a set of coordinates, and everybody now. Caustic, no killing players, okay? You all were waiting at these coordinates, which was a very lively nebula. But Zek had sent through in the message that you all were a couple days early. So at the start of this episode, I'm going to say that you have about 24 hours, according to Zek's transmission. With that being said, we open on the bridge of the ship. The captain and the first officer are indisposed at this time, and it's basically just kind of been transferred to Sulak that he is in charge. You enter the bridge and see that you're getting there at just about the time that the Gamma crew is on shift. They all come to attention
First thing Sulak's going to do is get a status report for what's been going on while he was off shift.
Okay. I'll just call him executive officer. Everything's been quiet, sir. No erratic messages from the future. No oddities with the nebula. I mean, to be frank, I'm not even sure why we're here. This is the most basic nebula I've ever encountered. We've been scanning it all night looking for anything that might be out of the ordinary, but this is a very generic nebula, something that we would see in the Alpha Quadrant.
Well, part of our mission often does take us to rather mundane, or at least mundane seeming parts of the Gamma Quadrant. And with that, he's going to dismiss the Gamma crew as everybody else begins to trickle in. He's going to have tactical control transferred to the captain's chair and settle in for what he hopes is one of the most uneventful shifts of his career.
Oh, sure. We can make that a thing, or chat can make it the opposite of that. We'll see how that plays out. It is actually a perfect timing that as you dismiss the Gamma crew and everything, Alpha crew begins to come on, and that brings onto the bridge Lieutenant Junior Grade Amathi, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready for science.
Dear, you're muted.
Oh yeah, Mafia is 100% ready for science tonight, for the shift. So, out of a quick question to the storyteller and quick question to those that came, would we have been told about what's going on here, or are we kind of in this nebulous cloud of who knows what the hell is currently going on right now, of why we're here, what's going on, different things? Okay.
That is exactly it.
You've been
So
doing
when
science.
okay, so when Amafi comes to the bridge and he sees the and the view screen is on, showing off the nebula, right? Okay,
I would presume so.
Yeah, Amafi will be like, he'll like stand a couple of feet away from his station, looking at the view screen, and he's just like, you know, it looks so tiny up there, but can you imagine that is so massive in size there that we could spend days trekking all across that gas cloud, and there would be so many amazing things that we could find in there. There's dust and particles and radiation. There's probably even some stars that are currently being birthed in there. I mean, look how big it is.
That's what she said.
I imagine Amathi looks like that meme where the cat's staring at the Christmas tree, but you only see the lights in the eyes.
Yeah. But yeah, he just kind of like he exclaims this out loud because there is no filter between Amapi's brain and his mouth. And then when he realizes what he said, he just kind of gets that, sheepish kitten look, and he's just like, Lieutenant Junior Grade Amapi reporting for duty. Do you need anything, Lieutenant Sulak, Captain Sulak, Captain Sulak, sir?
Lieutenant is fine, Amathi. Do me a favor. Start sweeping for tachyons.
Sure. Ooh, tachyons. Tachyons are really fun. Anyway, did you know, sir, that when it comes to tachyon particles, and then he'll just sit down at his station and start,
Bless his little heart. I love him so much.
and he starts just going on about the various different properties of tachyons. He says they're not just for time travel, by the way. They do so much more than that. And he just kind of, and he just starts
No.
going on and on and on and on.
Yes, Lieutenant. You remember those scans that we took with the pier when we first encountered the Sheev?
Yes, sir.
I'd like you to tune our sensors and sweep for any of those particular anomalies anywhere near the nebula.
Sorry? It cut out there. I didn't hear what you said.
Tune our sensors so that they are sweeping for those particular anomalies, i.e. the time displaced transwarp conduits.
Amafi is just like, he hits a singular button on his console. He has already pre-programmed the sensors to do that exact thing. It's been like a algorithm that he has already pre-prepared since they were on the tier. It is fully up and ready to go. It switches over everything, which is a single press of the button, and he says like, beep, done, sir.
Excellent.
I may have given the kitten some notes.
Then he'll tap his badge. Bridge to medical.
Yes, Captain.
Everything 5x5 down there?
What wouldn't be, Captain?
And have we begun the necessary preparations?
"24 hours out, sir."
That's why I ask. You could join me on the bridge. There are some alterations that I'd like to discuss.
En route.
Thank you.
Amafi's gonna beep his comm badge, and he's just like, Lieutenant Amafi to engineering.
Wait. I have a thing. Hold on. I forgot about this.
Goody.
I love it.
Oh, that's right. He's got the chirp somewhere.
Yeah, he said he did the chirps. But yeah, Lieutenant Commander Davin.
Commander Davin here.
I am in need of a power flow adjustment. I'm running a new sensor sweep for certain emissions, and I need the efficiency brought up by 10%.
Let me see what I can do. Should be manageable.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You're the best. Matthew over and out. Beep.
In my mind, Amathi doesn't really know how to ever end the
absolutely
the
not.
conversation. So
No.
it's like that. No, you hang up. No, you hang up.
This is accurate.
All right, so we're gonna say Doctor gets on the bridge, and Devin, will you are attempting to do some work for Amathi. First and foremost, we're gonna need some control and engineering role, but also beyond that, what else are you doing besides what Amathi has asked? You're just arriving at engineering. The shift is changing over.
I imagine that since Davin wasn't present last time, it was likely because there was some weird repair that, was just so weird that even her uh, higher command staff basically was like, we've never even seen this before. So, please come and check this out. And that's just been a thing that she's been like focused on. She finally got it going. She ended up having to just like do percussive maintenance and bang a wrench or a hydro spanner or something against it, and it started working. Even though it's a brand new ship, percussive maintenance still works. So, and I imagine at this point, she's doing like the thing with one hand because rerouting some power. She was doing that as an ensign. So at some point she just is like, why am I doing this here? So and so, you do that. And so she's kind of like looking at a pad, like, okay, why are they scanning? This is a random S nebula. What? I think I missed a few things. And so at that moment, she's going to calm up and basically go, Captain. Not expecting, you know, she doesn't know who's on shift. Just going straight to Captain.
Just going straight to the captain, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, wise and mighty storyteller. If Davin's badging the captain, does that go straight to the bridge, or are they trying to reach somebody who is currently out of communication?
It'd be whatever. It'd be whoever's like in command of the ship is essentially who she's calming.
There you go.
Whatever that translates to.
Go ahead, engineering.
Oh. She goes, oh wait, I'm echoing to the entire bridge. I need to not be so surprised. She kind of composes herself. Captain, I've got some questions. Can I come up to the bridge and speak to you in your ready room?
Of course.
I'll be right there.
All right. And
I'm
Davin
off
is
you.
on her way. So, Doc, you arrive on the bridge just before that communique goes through. You kind of like exit the turbo lift as that conversation happens.
Amafi waves at the chief medical officer.
Dr. K4?
Captain?
We don't have much time, so I'll make it brief. How isolated is the medical transporter?
Fairly.
Is there any way we can further isolate it from critical systems?
Currently, the medical transporter is on its own, much of Medical Bay is. Thus, if the ship loses power, Medical Bay will not.
Well, we may need to store someone in the pattern buffer. Mission readiness is critical, and I would hate to see a officer incapacitated.
Of whom are we speaking, Captain?
This pertains to our chief engineer.
Is the chief engineer consenting to this exercise, sir?
We'll find out shortly.
Amafi just kind of turns in his seat and then kind of like sits up a little bit because Cations are very short, so he kind of like looks over the bench or whatever it is that the tactical controls are, and like looks at the both of you two and cocks his head. It's like, was I asleep for a very long time, Captain Lieutenant Sulak? I feel like I missed some things.
I'll send the particulars to your station, and Sulak will pull out his pad and send the transmission over to Amathi's station.
It was during box time.
But box time is sacred. Nothing bad's supposed to happen during box time. He
Nothing
presses
bad
the button.
happened. We just felt it necessary not to disturb you.
When he reads the pad, he swears in Cation.
What does that sound like exactly? I mean,
That's scam.
Amazing.
all right, we're gonna clip that.
That moment is, if I can add some drama, is when the door opens and Roshan comes in, and she looks at Amathi swearing, and then is smirking as she says, "Captain, Doctor."
Lieutenant Commander,
Chang.
So I was fixing something in engineering, and I think I missed a particular reason we're in this nebula. Did someone did we get orders or something?
orders? No. But, I think it's best to read you into this. We
I
received
sure hope so.
we received a transmission from a member of the crew considered missing in action.
What?
Zek.
No, I got that. How?
Morse code.
That might be ancient enough. I
Out of
wouldn't have put it
an
past him to have that much intelligence, but I guess I'm surprised every day, sir.
well, it's why it immediately smacks of a trap.
Yeah, that's the natural next conclusion.
And it is why I am strongly recommending that we prepare for such an outcome. We have two options available to us: a low-grade EMP and a cocktail of psychiatric medications, or you can spend a bit of time in the medical transporter's pattern buffer.
Oh, it's a trap because you think they want to kidnap me.
That would be, what is it that your people say, Dr. K4, the most logical conclusion?
I'm sorry. Were you expecting an answer, Captain?
No. Sarcasm.
And I thought sarcasm was dead within you. I'm surprised every day, sir.
Well, turns out I contain multitudes.
At least one.
It also seems I'm not the only one that contains multitudes. Seems you two have been doing a bit of sharing.
What part of collective does not? I didn't have a choice.
I believe I briefed when I approached the idea that it was based on collective consciousness and collective memory.
There's a moment where Amafi is just like, this sounds really deeply personal, and I am personally uncomfortable, Lieutenant Sulak.
There's a point to this, I swear. Thankfully, we were able to mitigate any potential damage from sensitive security protocols.
Mhm.
But we would not feel right enacting any plan without your. He'll cast a sidelong glare at the doctor. Explicit consent.
Roshan actually genuinely smiles at the doctor and just kind of nods her head. Her gaze is a little colder but still professional when it goes back to Sulak. And basically kind of nods for a moment and goes, well, of the two options, while I'm sure and confident that the doctor could calculate something to counteract the additions to my system, I
That would
think
be
overall,
the electromagnetic pulse.
right. I think overall, if my physical form was in trillions of tiny pieces, that I would probably be safer in the long run. Which actually, the medical transporter would probably be the best one for that. I could probably isolate some power conduits to that specifically so that if something happens to the rest of everything, it will keep it stable. I would like to come back out of the buffer.
We would very much like you to also come back out of the buffer.
Yes. And perhaps, sir, after we get off shift at some point here and out of danger, we can sit down and have a conversation outside of duty.
I believe I can accompany you to 10 aft at some point.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course. Well,
How much
In-
time do we have?
24 hours, approximately.
Should be in-
Sir, there's probably beeping coming from his console, like that that sometimes you hear, and he will be like, sir, we got tachyons.
anything that matches previous scans?
I will start running. Does it match?
It does not match.
Amathi will breathe out a sigh of relief. She's like, whew. No, it doesn't match. Oh. But still, tachyons in a rather basic nebula. Oh, that doesn't make that nebula pretty basic anymore. Tachyons are like almost, they once were theoretical. Now they're not theoretical anymore. And the fact of the matter that they made their appearance here is, and Amafi will keep going if somebody doesn't shut him up.
Lieutenant,
Well, I do want to point out real quick something else that Amathi notices, because Amathi's got that brain and Cation attention span for that kind of thing. But as you're scanning through and going over the different things that you're picking up, one thing that you notice, it's kind of an underlying, very easy to kind of overlook because everything looks so mundane. You're noticing that this nebula has extremely high carbon counts.
What kind of carbon counts?
Like, the kind that are the creation of life within the universe. Like a
Excuse you?
like a carbon-based life form would have.
Are we talking like there's a bubble of basically primordial soup In the nebula?
That is correct.
K- K- Lieutenant Sulak, here, I'll send you the scans, but he will send the scans over towards the lieutenant's console. I'm detecting, like, how big are we talking about here? Are we talking like about the size of an asteroid, or a small planetoid, or a big planetoid, or is it like only a couple of centimeters? How big of a bubble of primordial soup did he find?
So that's the weird part. The way it's coming through the scan, it's like the entire nebula itself is the soup. But at the same time, not the soup.
Wait, what? No. No, 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 no.
When this
This-
comes over to my console, can I double check it against something? Because I have got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, so Amafi has no idea what this is. Kosin knows what this is, and he's just like, this doesn't. Okay, so it's tachyons, but yet the nebula is like, it's like primordial soup, but it's not. Can space be biological? No, that can't be right. And he'll just keep typing on the console. Can't be right, right?
I'd like to overlay the scans with the test data from the Genesis device.
It takes you all of 2 seconds to figure out that this is basically the soup that would be perfect for a Genesis device to make a planet.
That's why he brought us out here. And I am going to send that data back over to Amathi.
He kind of looks and he says, there's a, like, he's, Amafi is gonna take a look at this for a moment here. He's never worked with this kind of information before, or this kind of design, or any of these scans or whatnot. Does he understand them, or does he need to roll anything to, like, to get what he's looking at here? Because I do have a talent, walking encyclopedia, that just allows me to take a focus, so I can essentially start working on understanding how a Genesis device works, and even take it as a focus if need be. But yeah, Amafi will kind of like scan over this particular stuff, and he's like, okay, this is that proto matter? This stuff is really unstable.
It is, exceedingly. And we have reason to believe that there may be a large quantity of it making its way to this nebula in about 24 hours' time.
Oh. Okay. Do you this could, well, okay, first things first. If this plan, if like this happens, this is like the starting of the building blocks of like pulling a planet together. There would have to be, I mean, with that large amount of matter created in a singular space, it would like pull it together. And
Yes.
As Amathi is talking, Roshan kind of gets this, like she's been looking back and forth between Sulak and Amathi as they've been talking, standing kind of near the doctor, and she just gets this. She stops and gets this 1,000-yard stare that's staring straight out at the view screen in no particular direction as she's kind of like trying to figure out what's going on in her head.
Amafi will say, by the way,
No. If we're going, we go now.
All right. He's going to go over to his console and initiate a point-to-point transfer and put Davin in the buffer.
ah!
Hilarious.
All right. Lieutenant Commander Davin, you begin to get transported, and it is locked in mid-transport. You are now secured away in the buffer. However, as we had discussed before, the way that the new Borg nanites work and everything, you still have a consciousness, even though you're millions of particles and atoms. So you're just kind of like hanging out in the buffer, swinging your feet on the edge of the bed, waiting for.
If she's still conscious, is she still feeling the call?
Yes, but
Fantastic.
it's like skydiving.
Oh, nice. I love it. Yeah, she's not really learned from the previous experience, and her family is still part of that thing. So while like logically and even illogically, like she shouldn't reach out for them, she got her conversation with her brother interrupted. So she's reaching back out like, I'm here. Give me answers now.
Okay. All right. And while you're doing that, the three of the other crew members, you take a look out the view screen there, and in an area of the nebula where you're able to actually get a pretty clean view, but kind of deeper inside of it, you begin to see that telltale sign of a transwarp conduit opening. But as we have discovered before, the new Borg use a different version of that, and this is a temporal version of a transwarp conduit.
All stations, yellow alert. Lieutenant Amathi, I need you to...
Shields up, Captain?
Yes, shields up. SOP. Lieutenant Amathi, I need you to begin running calculations on how we can prevent a nebula from collapsing in.
Yeah, I could start on that right away. Protomatter has I'm working on it, I promise. And Amathi is just going to start wailing away on his console. His tail is going to come up and add for extra, touching on the console. So he's typing with his fingers and his tail as he's working out a solution at this point.
And we made those nifty modifications to the shields. So we don't need the vinculum active anymore. Am I correct in that assumption there, oh wise and mighty storyteller?
Do what with the who now?
So that modified vinculum, rather than trying to assemble it and turn it back on, we were able to make the requisite modifications to our shields.
Yeah.
So okay. Good. So we're going to readjust shield harmonics for that specific attunement. And then he's going to turn and look at Dr. K4. Is everything all right, Doctor?
No.
Status report.
There's. Hold on.
We were disconnected. Cut off from the old collective and the new collective. There should be no way that Are you sure the shield is functional?
Is the shield functional?
The shield does appear to be working as advertised.
All right. We're going to begin rotating shield harmonics because it's worked with the old Borg. So when in doubt, fall back on what we used to work.
Absolutely. Give me some. What are we doing with this? Daring and engineering, I think.
Excellent. Ooh, nice. We got a 1 and a 3.
That is perfect. You are cycling through, and as you do so, Dr. K4, things go back to normal for you. They go silent.
What about me?
You know what? That is a good question. I think, I think it would be the same for you. You'd be cut off from the new Borg.
Stop there. They're
Okay.
confused. I can hear them. Could hear them. Their ship has been hijacked. Confusion is uncommon in a collective.
Were you able to sense any hostility or just confusion?
Confusion. They don't know what's happening. The ship's been hijacked.
In your expertise, are the Borg capable of lying?
What use would it serve? There's nothing that can stand against us.
I like how that was worded. Not stand against them.
Sometimes, I guess what we need is a leap of faith.
Go back, change the harmonics.
He's going to go back to the shield frequency that allowed communication and instruct K4 to reach out and make contact. If we can provide assistance, we should.
Oh man, Jax would be so proud of you right now. Proud.
Kirk is a lot of things, but he does believe in the ideals of Starfleet.
I know this. Jax does not.
You switch the frequency back, and Doc, you get that connection coming back in. Same with you, Devin. The two of you are both in connection with the new collective again. However, it doesn't seem like it's necessarily transmitting both ways. You're just kind of like, it's almost like an empathy kind of feeling right now. Right. Like you're just kind of feeling what they're feeling, and they are freaked out.
Fear. Also not common in a collective.
Now, what would frighten the Borg?
Nothing. But these are not the Borg.
There is one thing I can think of that scared the Borg so senseless that they allied with a lone Federation ship. What is Borg standard operating procedure when they come across a species that cannot be assimilated?
Destruction.
And if they cannot destroy them?
This has never occurred.
404 does not exist.
We'll keep that on the back burner. And no luck making contact. This is directed at Dr. K4.
Receiving. And even that is minimal. More emotion than actual collective. Strange that a collective should have emotion.
This is probably the dumbest idea I've had yet. So let's see if it works. Communications, open a hailing frequency, wideband. She vessel, this is the USS Kvasir.
No response.
Amafi says, "Oh, of course we can't contact them, Captain. The tachyon field, or the tachyons that I'm currently detecting right now, are not in the same pattern. In order for us to actually reach them, to communicate with them, they would have to match. So to basically open things both ways, the current transport or the transdimensional portal that we're currently seeing, even though it does look and detect in the same fashion, the tachyons are not lining up exactly on that. So if I were to, from our end, basically pick up the phone, so to speak, we might be able to talk to him. I just would have to find a way to match the way how the tachyons are currently would have to act. Give me a sec. And then Amafi is basically one hand and the tail are still doing the thing about how to keep a planet from collapsing in on itself and creating a brand new planet through protomatter, while his other hand is working on how to, fix tachyons into a certain direction.
The only time I've ever felt anything remotely like this from a collective was upon the death of the Queen.
And Kurik is going to hop on his console and begin helping Amathi, because that sentence alone has put the fear in Sulak. Which is funny, because fear in a Romulan looks almost like apathy.
That's fair. So Amathi, as you are, one hand, tail, even with Sulak tap, you get a very strange transmission coming into your console. It is a UHF signal.
A radio signal?
Was that out loud?
Yeah, that's literally what Amafi just exclaims. a radio signal? It's a UHF band. How's that even getting? What? Where's that even coming from?
It's archaic. The last method of communication was archaic.
Morse code. UHF, of course. So Kurik is going to swap over to the other console and try to dial in on the UHF signal.
Okay. It does not take much that you get it. It's a little grainy, a little staticky, but it is that old familiar voice of Zach. To whoever can hear this, I hope that you received my Morse code transmission. The new Borg, they don't detect old ways very well. I have hijacked their ship and am bringing it to the coordinates sent earlier. I will then detonate the Genesis device to create a new home for the Romulans. These were my orders.
This isn't a trap. He's an idiot.
What did you expect? Of course he's an idiot.
Amafi, I'm going to need that countermeasure for the proto-matter.
Amafi just kind of, like, he's still working, but he's just turning his head and looking right at you. And he's like, Lieutenant, do you have something you need to tell me right now?
These orders were above and beyond any we had received from Starfleet. I was not made aware of them until we were well underway. But it would seem someone was able to smuggle a Genesis device aboard.
So, I got an idea.
I'm all ears.
That's true.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. K4. There is no one on this ship I don't hate right now.
So, Amafi says, before Amafi like nearly burst into kitten giggles there, he will look and he says, "Okay, so the way how that the Borg transwarp coils work is that it creates a tachyon pulse that basically, when targeted into certain distortion effects, can create the temporal portals that they use to go back in time. There's actually a way to create a anti-tachyon pulse, and basically, we don't even need to stop them. We just need to close the door, right?"
Fair.
So I can close the door. That's not hard to do. I can set it. I could do that.
Get it done.
All right, and that is what he will start working on.
In the meantime, Sulak is going to prep Plan B because there's another way to close those bad boys. They just involve inducing a graviton cascade.
That's fair. That's fair.
Much like sealing a rupture in subspace.
Is that why we have graviton torpedoes?
It's not why we have graviton torpedoes.
So Zek's transmission continues. This is the only way that I could think to create a home that would result in no loss of life. My orders come directly from Admiral insert name here because Ray can't remember who the head of Section 31 is right now.
Director Sloan.
There you go. My orders come directly from Director Sloan. All I ask is that you please tell my family that this does not mean they do not owe me money. Also,
Wow.
please relay to the captain that ever since I first laid eyes on her beautiful perky lobes, I have only ever wanted to make her proud. Perhaps in the next life, things will be easier. End transmission.
Does the audio of that come through the link that K4 and Roshin have kind of established? Because that's going to cause some things.
Yeah, I like to think that the two of you were able to pick up on that. And also, while all this chaos is ensuing, the two of you have been able to much more collectively communicate with each other, with the shield being harmonized a certain way. Unlike with the new Borg, who are still way in the future,
It's
where
more
you're
efficient
only
in
feeling
combat.
feelings, you are actually able to communicate in a way that the actual Borg would. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
K4 would essentially communicate to Roshin the idea that she had broached prior to making everybody giggle like fiends. We can thank Roshin's influence for that. I'm blaming her. I'm blaming Davin. It's fine.
Absolutely. I will take that blame 100%. 100%.
And the idea that whatever was drawing them together, the queen, the hub of the sheave, might have been destroyed. Because that's what would cause that sort of confusion among drones.
Yeah. That thought combined with hearing the message through K4's perceptions, essentially, as it filters through the shared link, you would feel a great deal of kind of anger build on the other side of the line, as you'd get. It's more directed at Zek, like, I'm not letting him destroy perfectly coherent beings just for the sake of whatever his dumb orders are, because yeah, she's just fully letting personal feelings, because she knows how much the loss of a homeworld impacted Sulak. She you know um uh just in the aftermath of that alone, and the little bit that they've interacted since getting on the ship, just she remembers how it felt like for her to lose one. It's just someone to just boldly go and say, oh, I'm just going to create a homeworld, and she can put it together real fast. Wait a minute, it's in the middle of the gamma quadrant, and that makes no sense. And just there's just a lot of anger, and she basically, you get the idea that as she knows how painful it would be for K4 to fully reconnect with that other collective again, she basically not voices but intimates that you know um if we can save them from his stupidity so that they can go off and do whatever they do in their own time, you know, because I don't think that this planet should exist. But, she would also give the, whatever command says sort of deal. She essentially makes her personal feelings known, and then is just basically like, if there's command objections, I will bow to it, and I will be happy.
And the response she gets back is going to be like, command objections or no command objections, we save sentient life.
Oh yeah,
Machines,
there's a mental
for
high
all
five
their
there.
faults, are sentient.
Yeah, there's a mental high five.
Brain
But-
slaps. Brain slaps.
Cautions that they would have to get closer to reconnect more fully with the collective.
Roshin understands and is 100% by that, and basically is like, get me the hell out of this pattern buffer, and we can make that happen.
We can make what happen.
Oh, basically get me out of this pattern buffer, and once the ship materializes, we can make that happen.
Oh. You are not worried. If they lost one queen, they intend to make you another.
That's probably exactly what they're going to do. But if your memories are correct, that's the only way to get them to work coherently together to basically throw off whatever the fuck Zek did.
The queen doesn't have to be you.
No.
It can be me.
It should not be me.
No, it
Like-
cannot be you.
Like, that idea would be paralyzingly terrifying for K4.
Let's put it this way, Doc. I trust you to cut me off when I need to be cut off. But if we're going to save these people, some things got to be done.
We will have to see what is done.
One step at a time.
It may be just confusion, using old-style saboteur tactics to hijack their ship from under them. I could be incorrect.
Well, the logical conclusion there would be to teach them the old ways.
Yes.
All up here. I just have to get connected enough.
At this moment, the doctor's going to come out of her little catatonic episode because she has just been on the bridge staring into nothing
Yeah.
with her head tilted at like a 45-degree angle. Like, does this make sense at 45 degrees?
46 degrees?
44 and a half.
I believe we need to get Chang out of the pattern buffer. Sir.
Moppy, hold on my last order.
He's about ready to hit a button, and he just kind of hovers his paw above it. Yes, sir.
Go ahead, doctor. Convince me. We don't have a lot of time.
Of why we should get the engineer out of the pattern buffer.
Yes.
We may be able to avoid our former first officer making a genocidal error. One of two things has occurred. The first is that Zek used archaic technology to hijack the Sheev ship from underneath them. This is possible primarily due to the fact that the Sheev seem to borrow technologies from other places, including Borg. The other possibility is that Roshin's sibling, who was acting as the hub for the collective, Zek killed him. In either case, there are things that we can do to rectify First Officer Zek's error. In the first case, we can essentially upload the archaic technologies directly to the collective. allowing them to circumvent Zek's meddling. In the second case, we can offer them a temporary hub to fix Zek's meddling.
And if we can save sentient life, it is incumbent upon us to do so. And he'll reach over to the console and tap a couple buttons to bring Roshin out of the pattern buffer.
No more buffer!
This has happened
All right.
twice. I'm having someone make me a background that's this, but says buffering on it so that I can switch it out when this happens. Because if it's happening twice, it's going to happen again. We just know this. Anyway, so now that she's fully materialized, she just stretches and looks at the acting captain. You know that I'm fully conscious in there, right? You probably didn't.
Duly noted.
Yeah. At least send a
That
book in
should
with me
be
next
possible.
time.
I
Great.
have some theories on that.
When a large
Lieutenant
percentage
Mafi.
of one's physical form is made out of varying nanites being split into thousands and millions of pieces does less to affect one's consciousness than one might care to explore.
The implications of that are monumental. I must have some to study. Sorry.
Yes, perhaps we can schedule some science time when we're not facing an imminent genocide, Lieutenant Amathi.
Wait, what genocide? Did I say anything about a genocide?
If Zek detonates that Genesis device aboard the Sheeves ship, think it through.
Zek would do that.
Yes, he would. You heard the transmission the same as I did.
He couldn't have been serious, Lieutenant. That would be insane.
And
Yes.
what about Zek makes you think he's not?
There's a moment where Amafi is like not 100% sure how to answer that question.
They never are.
Like, he's just like, but he's a Starfleet officer.
At this point, Lieutenant's junior grade, he can be convicted for war crimes.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
That device isn't even supposed to exist. The fact that it does is a war crime.
The fact that, well, I mean, that probably explains why it is that I've never seen it before. Protomatter is like really illegal and really dangerous. And the fact of the matter that the Genesis, this device uses it, is not good whatsoever. Okay. Anyway, I have a lot of different solutions. Which one do you want me to implement?
Keep working on the protomatter issue. In the meantime, transfer helm. I'm going to take us in.
Yes, sir. Beep.
Dun, 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 dun.
So,
Doctor's gonna keep looking for the hub, just like hoping they're getting closer, hoping every second they get closer is a second she can like get in there.
Yeah, Roshin's
It's like
walk over to the doctor and just put her hand on her shoulder on the off chance that physical proximity actually helps amplify the signal, as she basically just closes her eyes and just, okay, Doc knows what she's doing a little bit more than I do. I'm still very new at this.
Doctor, is it possible to patch in to the ship's wideband communications?
is it possible for me to patch into the ship's wideband communication?
Yes.
Yes.
Amathi, can you tune our wideband communications array to the tachyon pulses?
Yes. I'll need to know the subspace frequency that the nanites that are in her system basically transmit on. Then I can basically, it's a plug and play essentially.
That's where you come in, Commander Davin.
But yes, essentially, once I get the subspace frequency by which that the nanites communicate on, I can adjust our subspace frequency that we use for our wideband transmissions on for subspace communication. And once they're linked up, then basically patch them in through that way. Then I can run a modular program to basically adjust the ship's transmission to hit and basically link up with the tachyon pulses or with the tachyon field. So yeah, that's what Amathi will do.
Would it make things easier for you if I physically jacked into the system?
Do you still have them?
Yes, several of them.
I've never seen them before.
Dr. K4, take communications.
Yeah, Amafi is going to avert his eyes like he's going to see something very sensitive that he shouldn't.
Right.
Roshan or Davin basically walks with the doctor, hand still on her shoulder, not going to disrupt the connection. Like, I'm pretty sure we're good enough at this point that doesn't need to drag her along.
All right. So the doctor connects to the ship essentially.
Yeah, the doctor is going to physically jack into the ship.
You stick your Borg nanotubes into the ship.
She's also got, the old school tech, so the cybernetic arm and the cortical array.
All right, you are connected to the broadband. Amathi has synchronized everything, and basically, Devin and Dr. K4 become ginormous Borg transmitters, and you high definition 4K connect with the new Borg. Like you've transmitted through time.
Amazing.
Ew! I feel gross.
What you connect to and immediately notice is and forgive me, Nick, I forget your brother's name.
I do too. I don't remember what it is at the moment.
I was
so
like,
feel
I
free.
know it's in Discord somewhere. But anyway, the first thing is that you connect with your brother and you both see that he looks significantly older. Like his skin appears wrinkled, his hair is now like a white almost. It looks like he's deteriorating.
Can we tap into what his nanites are essentially giving for his condition, what's wrong with them, anything?
Well, the panic has changed from oh snap, our ship has been hijacked to oh snap, we're all dying. What is happening? And you're now picking up thoughts and actual communication between the new Borg who are basically calling out to each other. Like, where are you? I don't want to die alone. And you both get the sense and scene that the entire Borg ship is perishing. Something has happened that is causing their nanites to fail.
Can we tell what? Or more specifically, can the doctor tell what?
So what the doctor is trying to find, I need you to make what I do with the character sheet. Did I close it? Nope, there it is. I need a daring and medicine, please.
my focuses in Borg technology and emergency medicine come into it anywhere?
I'll allow that. Yes.
Okay. You said daring in medicine?
Yes, please.
Okay. Let's roll the dice.
Keep
Well-
rolling.
While that is occurring, I have another stupid idea that might just be crazy enough to work.
It worked for Zach.
What are the range on our transporters?
I honestly have no idea.
Would it be possible to get into transporter range, lock on to Zek and the Genesis device, and transport them clear of the nebula? I do not care if I transport him into open space. At this point, he is a criminal and needs to be dealt with swiftly before we have a genocide on our hands.
In defense of a genocide can let you get away with some shit.
I mean, the genocide is currently happening. So,
Necessity need no law.
Hmm.
One
don't
war
say.
crime does not fix another war crime.
This
You
is
don't
technically not a
say.
war crime.
Except when
This
it
is an
does.
extrajudicial murder.
We're going to be accused of
different.
crimes, or at least going to name them correctly.
This is going to make Jax less proud.
All right. So we'll say that the teleporter, the transporter. I mean, if the ship was within the same zone as you, it would reach. But the ship itself right now is kind of not only not in the zone, it's not in the same time.
I have an idea.
I think it might be the same idea that I just had, but I'd love to hear it.
Oh my god, you just had a pinky in the brain moment.
So what if I modulate with our deflector shield a tachyon pulse to basically open it from our side, but we only go part way in and we touch tips?
I'm ashamed to say that that's
Oh my god! You're doing everything short of transporting me onto the ship. And I'm so proud of you guys for trying to avoid that.
and now we shall gingerly touch our tips.
Oh, jeez. What an episode to miss.
The other thought that I had was to open the temporal transwarp conduit from our side and use our tractor beam to kind of drag them through.
I thought about that too as well, sir, but the problem with that is that what if he has it like set to a proximity so that like once it comes through the portal that it detonates? That's also the other problem that I'm currently seeing with this. I don't know whether or not if he actually has it set on a timer or if it's like a proximity thing or anything of that nature. So that's why I'm like, this might be the way to do it.
Well then, Lieutenant Amathi, we should work quickly.
Yeah, I'm working quickly.
Erosion will turn. She still has her hand on the doctor's shoulder, or if their nanites are dying, mine are the last intact ones that could possibly repair them.
I have
But
an
I need
idea
to be
for
on
that too.
ship.
Not necessarily.
No, not necessarily.
Dr. K4, you still have those stores in medical, don't you?
They are mine.
But
Oh,
But
but
They
They,
still,
they are not the nanites of the new Borg. They are mine.
but we were experiencing that anomaly where your nanites were calling to Roshin, Commander Davin.
Yes.
yeah. So the idea, and I'm with you on this one, Lieutenant Surlock. We will expose her nanites to your nanites. They'll eat your nanites and basically make more of their nanites, and then basically we can use the weapons that were developed by Voyager in the Delta Quadrant, and we could basically shoot them with the new nanites, and they'll be fixed.
We could, in theory, with a probe module, inoculate the Sheev ship.
Yeah.
There are easier ways to go about this.
That is true. We do have limited
Such
time
as?
on this one.
I'm open to options.
If we're close enough to fire weaponry, we're close enough to transport.
I am not putting another member of this crew on that ship.
That if you go over there, Roshan, you won't come back.
That's why I'm taking the dock.
But
She'll bring me back.
But then we don't get both of you back. That doesn't make sense. We'll lose both our chief medical officer and our chief engineering officer.
The captain is a medical officer. My position is superfluous.
That's
I am not sacrificing members of this crew.
You will not be.
oh no.
Dr. K4, how long would it take to retrofit your nanites with Roshin's nanites?
I'm not
don't-
sure. I've not attempted such. Would you be
Longer
adverse
than they
to a blood
got.
draw?
I got an idea.
Make it snappy, Lieutenant.
There's a Earth toy. It's called a yo-yo. Basically, you let it go, and then it spins and it spins, and then you yank it back.
Believe it or not, I'm familiar with the concept of a yo-yo.
Yeah, okay,
Yes,
so
you should
that's
be.
basically what I would do. I could put basically tags on them. They're in their communication badges, and basically making a timed thing to where we transport
done.
them in. All right.
Acceptable.
all right. Daring and science on that one, Amathi.
Yep. Do we have any momentum left?
Oh yeah, you guys.
We should.
You have
Yeah,
tons
we
of
should
it.
have tons.
I'm
Devin,
fairly certain I earned some momentum on that last roll that I made.
Devin, as you have your hand up on the dock, you start to notice that your hand is beginning to wither the same way that Samuel is looking.
Davin will just switch hands and just hold up the aging hand to Sulak. If they go, I go, apparently.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 hits because I'm spending all of our momentum to get as many successes on this as I can.
I think that's approved at this point.
Yeah, well done. Well done. All right. You get a thumbs up of approval.
I'm going to send somebody to medical to get a couple of gallons of green fluid that I hadn't already turned into a war crime.
I love
like,
that phrasing.
Some of
I
it already has been turned into weaponry against a specific threat, but the rest of it has not quite gotten done yet. So there is probably like, I don't know, 3 or 4 gallons of green.
All right. So it's going to take a couple of minutes. One of your
Not if
you
we
know.
use point-to-point transportation.
Also true.
So, yeah, in the interest of saving time, Sulak is going to lock on to where the nanites have been stored and transport those containers directly to the bridge.
And freaking genius that she is, the doctor is going to just take a syringe and draw out some of her own blood and freaking feed it into Davin's withered hand, testing the theory.
So yes, you inject these nanites, and Davin, you start to feel better. Your hand begins to regenerate. Everything looks good. The gallons of nanite juice are now on the bridge.
Vulcan green blood, baby.
That
Yeah,
lovely
Davin will
Vulcan
hold up-
green. Next time I
Yeah.
paint a room, I'm going to ask for Vulcan green.
Green, yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, Davin will hold up her hand like, theory proven. Operation Yo-Yo is a go. At your command, sir.
Lieutenant
Contact-
Amathi, are we good?
We're good. Yep, we're good.
Contact your brother.
Yeah,
Let them know you'll be
she'll-
coming aboard with...
If he hears from you, he will take it better than hearing from me.
Yeah, she will reach out and go,
What?
I can save us. Let me in.
Amathi, how much time will they have?
I can't give you a time.
I'm just gonna have a blow dart full of like mini syringes.
It's like just a hitting Borg as you go.
No, just aerosol it.
That was
Without
my
a
thought, was to aerosolize it.
oh yeah. Without a word, the two of you get transported onto the new Borg ship
With the nanite juice, right?
with the juice.
Yes, with
Juice.
the nanite juice. We
Juice.
must have the nanite juice.
With the juice.
The juice.
We need our
Blame
juice
it,
stuff.
blame it on the juice, baby.
While they're being transported over, can we lock onto Zek and the Genesis device and I don't know, hurl them clear of the nebula? Because like while Davin and K4 are working on one problem, we do still have the genocidal maniac to deal with.
What you could do is store Zek in the pattern buffer because he should really answer for his crimes and
He
chuck the Genesis
should.
device into a star.
You know what? You're absolutely right. He should.
He should go in the buffer.
So let's put him in the buffer and
Thank
we can
you.
keep him there. He can come out when we've gotten back to Starfleet Command.
In the buffer.
We'll store him in one of the removable pattern buffer the removable data storage devices for the pattern buffer.
Zek will be buffering.
Zek will be buffering.
All
Yeah.
right. Well,
Every day you're buffering.
unfortunately, the Kvasir's technology is not good enough to transport through the temporal conduit. So you won't be able to do that necessarily.
Oh,
no.
I got ideas though.
Now, real quick, Devin and Doc, you are on the ship. You are on the Borg ship. You see they're, laying on the floor. They're like, there's new Borg everywhere. They're just dying where they stand, pretty much. And as the two of you start to work, you both suddenly get a connection view, kind of like, collective of Zek. And coming down the hallway, carrying the Genesis device, with his finger already like depressing the detonator, you see Zek, but he's not himself. He's Newborged out.
Mm.
Stops for a moment and looks at both of you. What? Why are you here?
So before Roshin responds, because if I remember correctly from what we established previously, the Newborg can essentially kind of like have some sort of connection with their ship where they just like touch the ship and they're in tune with it,
Mm-hmm.
right? If I'm remembering correctly. Cool.
Yep.
As Roshan's going to be responding, she's basically touching the ship and uploading all the archaic, like stuff that Zek might have used to disable the ship to the ship, so it can repair itself. And then basically the last order that can go off at a dramatic timing is going to be to use that ship's teleporters to teleport him into the nearest sun or black hole or whatever stellar body is nearby. But so as that's happening, what she's saying, and she's just obviously staring into the middle distance where she's at, but she's staring through the link, and you know as the doc is working, this is echoing towards all the other linked people, including her brother, and she goes, "You are committing a war crime. You're about to genocide an entire race just to carry out your orders. That's why we're here."
Oh, I don't care about them.
And that's what makes you not Starfleet.
No. Well, of course I'm not Starfleet, but no. I don't mean it that way. I mean, I was going to take a shuttle. I just needed them to get me here.
Yes, but now they're dying.
I had nothing to do with that.
I think it's a strange confluence of events that your arrival and your usage of that device and what you had to do to get this vehicle here likely has something to do with it.
Well, I can't deny that. They did start shriveling up when I did this. But I mean, that was an accident. I had no idea that a Ferengi being a new Borg would make them wither up like old sausages.
I suppose you haven't looked in the mirror lately, have you?
No. What? Why? No, I've got orders. And the doc is able to inject enough nanites into enough Newborg while this conversation happens that Zek gets transported away into the nearest black hole. The good news is he is so many centuries in the future that this is going to be a problem for somebody else really long time from now.
Amazing. That's what we do. We slow track our problems.
And with
that sounds like 32nd century Starfleet problems.
yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So yes, with that, Zek is dead. Now the doctor, you are able to Zek's dead, baby. I don't know why that popped in my head, but anyway, the doctor continues healing up Newborg. And Samuel reaches out to both of you, and you hear like in your mind that I don't know how long your nanites will last. We have no central hub anymore.
What were you using before when we met previously?
Our mom.
What happened to the queen?
Zek forcibly used her nanites to change himself.
Ah. Where are you?
I'm on the bridge.
Open the
Where
door.
was she?
She's in her quarters.
Yeah, Roisin will access the ship's log to figure out where that is, and she's gone.
Yeah, you pretty much already know.
Here,
Yeah.
take some nanites.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say real quick, I absolutely love the private chat
Take
and
some
how much
nanites.
everyone hates Zek right now.
Take some nanites. Take some juice.
Yeah,
Listen,
Take
yeah.
a whole gallon.
I may come from a notoriously, we'll call them private, xenophobic race, but even this is a bridge too far for me.
We found the
And-
bridge, folks. We found the bridge. Sorry.
The doc is just gonna take a second between wanting to make sure that she has what are Samuel's vitals like? Would she have time to go with Roisin and still nanitify Samuel?
Yeah, you'd have time.
Okay, so she's gonna go with Roisin.
All right. The two of you waste no time getting to basically what would be the quarters. It resembles a very luxurious room. And now, per the story, the two of you enter in and you can see Lieutenant Commander's mom laying in the bed. Now, she did pass away, but the nanites have kept her body preserved, let's say, as a hub. So she's kind of like a mummy almost. But the nanites are keeping her looking young and youthful, and she just, without the nanites, she would pass away normally.
K4 used to make Borg. Is there anything left of life in this husk that she could make Borg?
The easiest way to explain it is that the nanites are her life support.
Roisin will kind of like kneel down and just take her hand and just like she's lost in a personal moment at this moment. Like there's just this profound sense of loss that definitely K4 can feel, and probably the rest of the collective, as there's just kind
I
of
was
this,
about to say this is spreading out through the whole collective.
yeah, like she's just starting to like slowly sing a like very mournful Irish sort of dirge. So
K4 is gonna start doing what K4 does best, which is make Borg. I imagine there are all kinds of random aspects of the ship that she could cannibalize to make perhaps not new Borg technology, but technology like runs her. This pump, that filter.
Yeah.
And K4 is a surgeon. So we're trying to make a Borg style heart that will filter and pump the nanites.
Okay. Give me daring and medicine. Or, yeah, I'll say medicine. I was going to say engineering, but
Trauma surgeon?
absolutely.
Borg technology?
Backstory trauma.
That is a 1 and a 6.
that's
That is amazing. Yeah, you are very, 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 very easily creating this Borg artificial heart.
And then we're going to stick like, I don't know, half a gallon of, maybe a little more. We're just going to put in as much like Borg juice, saving back a couple of pints.
Okay. Yeah, you fill that sucker up, and as far as you know, it's operational. It's ready to go.
Let's start it.
Now, Devin, what are you doing with all this? Or during all this, I should say.
She is essentially watching at this point, but like she's, like been fully just like sharing with Samuel essentially more directly than most of the rest. Just kind of getting a full like more full story, like resuming their conversation and just some of those like background things, and also just passing along any relevant thing, all the old archaic stuff that she knows about Morse code, radio frequencies, all the fundamentals from old Earth, and literally just opening up her head and giving them a copy at this point, because also the idea that they're going to have to let her go because she can't stay right now. Maybe in the future, but she can't stay right now. And if they've got the capacity to transcend linear time in this fashion, they will hardly be waiting at all for her. And she will arrange some sort of signal, quote unquote, either when A, she's in a near-death situation, or two, when she retires. If her exciting life lets her. So
All right. Now, how are we going to go about this surgery? You just going to like step out of the way and let the doc handle this, or?
I mean, if Roshin's medical training and knowledge, it's a one. It's at its most basic level. Like she can maybe like do like first aid and shit, but she will still be like, do you need me to hand you things? I can't. I shouldn't be allowed to dig in there with you, but I can try to be helpful if there's a way I can be helpful.
K4 is mostly just using her cybernetic, like, 'cause it's medical primed anyway, so she's got her cybernetic arm doing about 90% of the work.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
as long as Devin doesn't have a problem, you can go ahead and do that, and you install the new Borg heart, and
I love that
as
so much.
it connects to
Borg.
everything, it begins to artificially pump as it would. You see like the green juice start moving through. And now for my favorite part that I've been waiting to do like this whole time. So these nanites, the new Borg nanites. I don't know if anybody is familiar with Doctor Who, but these are very similar to the nanites from Doctor Who. They rebuild a person based off of what they think that person should have been based off of DNA and whatnot. So as the nanites begin mixing and adapting to each other and transforming, you see Lieutenant Commander Davin's mother suddenly begin to look very strikingly like Dr. K4. When this happens, the signal goes out to the other damaged nanites all across the collective. All of the new Borg begin changing appearance to look akin to Dr. K4. Maybe not a perfect, copy or anything like that, but very much a very close relative.
So, like, K4 as a Vulcan? So, like, they look like Tavia Lavore? Or, like, including the metallic bits?
No, they don't. They don't have the metallic bit. They still have the glowing blue bits, but they look like Vulcans that would be related to a Vulcan Dr. K4. Yeah. So could be a brother, could be a sister.
That's
Some of
not
them.
creepy at all.
Oh yeah, it's very unnerving.
Oops, all K4s.
And so with that, we're going to cut back to the other ship where Amathi has managed to get a lock on the two away team by boosting the ship.
Once I have a lock, I will look to Lieutenant and says, I've got a lock. Do you want me to bring them back?
Bring them home, Lieutenant Amathi.
On that note, I will basically transport them back to... I'll transport them to the bridge. Amathi,
Okay.
however, will erect a top-level containment field around the area, though, that they're going to be transported to, just in case.
So I just thought of something, and this is going to be awesome. All right, so you transport them back, and you transport them back, and Dr. K4 looks, like Dr. K4 normally would. Lieutenant Commander Davin appears next to her, and for all intents and purposes, looks just like she did, Newborg style and everything, except strangely enough, she now has Vulcan ears.
Amazing.
It was the syringe, wasn't it?
Yeah, Davin just kind of feels her ears and just looks at the doc. Can we do something about this?
It's a fairly simple cosmetic surgery.
Perfect. I mean, no offense. Like, it's just really.
When the two of them get on the bridge, the temporal conduit closes up, and the two of you lose contact with Newborg.
Amathi is still going to run to scan to make sure they're not like sloughing off those new nanites, the new Borg nanites, and getting them into the ship. I mean, I know they're all in Lieutenant Davin. That's fine. That's what they're going to do. The Lieutenant Davin seems to want them there, whatever. But I just want to make sure that the ship doesn't get any more of them. The last thing we need is the Kvasir to pick up another goddamn STD.
Are you accusing me of having cooties?
It's a Chief transmitted virus.
That needs to be a t-shirt.
I hate it.
We need to pay one of our artist friends to make that.
God, I hate it so much.
But it's so glorious.
So bad, but so good.
Commander Davin, Dr. K4, status report. Was the mission successful?
Yes, sir. It was successful. I am... I can't say this on the record, but Zach and his device have met their fate in the nearest black hole several hundred years in the future.
Good. Lieutenant Amathi?
Yes, sir.
The scans?
How are my scans there, storyteller? We good? Because if they're good, then the Mafia will lower the containment field.
Indeed. Everything is on the up and up.
Good.
K4
Yes.
does not speak to anybody and goes directly to medical.
There is. Sulak takes a step towards Roshin and stops dead in his tracks, stiffens up a bit, takes a step back. It's good to have you back, Commander.
It's good to be back, Captain. Couldn't imagine being anywhere else.
Amafi will leave his station and bounds forward. He doesn't like. He still maintains Starfleet protocol, but he is very happy, and he's just like, "It's great to see you, Chief. I'm glad to see that you're okay. I'm glad the plan worked. I was completely and 100% confident that it was going to work. I'm glad to see you.
I'm glad to see your furry face too. I may eventually need some of your good cheer, although I would give her.
Okay, yeah, I could definitely do that. Are we gonna go to 10F then? Wait, I'm still on shift. I am still on shift, Chief. I gotta finish my shift first.
Yes, I have a very, very complicated report to write up.
Commander, consider yourself temporarily relieved of duty until your next shift. The same goes for Dr. K4.
Like 30 minutes from now.
You get a 30-minute break.
Now, this is the most important part of the show right here. Is where Lieutenant Sulak wants to take the ship next, as he is in charge. And more than that, we need to have Lieutenant Sulak give his takeaway phrase.
Yes.
Helm kind of turns around. Orders, sir?
Set course to the next point on our mission.
Aye, Captain.
And he pauses for a moment, smiles, and in Romulan, because you can't beat the classics, engage.
Nice.
But in Romulan.
But in Romulan.
But in Romulan.
But in Romulan. Engage it? Well done. Well done. Well done, everybody. Thank you very much for playing tonight. You guys were absolutely phenomenal. Thank you to chat. You all had me dying over here, and your roles were mightily appreciated. Thank you so much. And awesome job, everybody. We will see you next time on Star Trek Kvasir. See you next game. Bye.
Bye.